making sure I was taking some notes here. Let me take a quick drink of water.
I got my coffee now. Okay. Is that weird now? Like,
What, drinking a couple Busch Lights and then drinking coffee?
no.
That's
We don't need
weird.
to talk about that part. Alright, the coffee's just to clear the mind. But no, like, anymore in the evenings, like, coffee's my go-to.
I feel like
I guess it's not really evening right now, but...
Yeah, I mean, coffee is just good, dude. I like the taste of coffee. I've definitely started to drink a lot more of it. Not too much in the evenings, I'd say, but definitely like, I mean, I guess whatever you consider evening. I'll drink a cup of coffee at 3 p.m., 4 p.m., you know? So.
Yeah, like, I mean, me, like, I'll be down here in the basement. See, my thing is, like, I always like having something to drink. Like, if you notice, there's a Gatorade over on my fucking desk right now. Like, I always have something to drink. And that's also my issue with beer is, like, I will drink and then I'll be like, all right, just grab another one.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I'll just grab another one. So I'm like, sometimes I do coffee also as a way to avoid beer. And because I always like having something to drink. So I go with the coffee in the evenings sometimes, and it's kind of nice. But then all of a sudden I'm fucking 6 coffees deep, and I'm like, all right, let's go.
Wired, yeah.
Oh wait, it's fucking 12 o'clock.
I think it's nice when it's kind of cold out too, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I used to love hot chocolate. I don't drink it as much anymore, but coffee is kind of taken
And
over.
like especially like today's like the coffee or hot chocolate type of day. Like just sit up, fucking watch a movie, and just.
Yeah, I mean, that's the first thing I said to you when I walked down the basement. This is the most Sunday I think I've experienced in a while.
This is the perfect day to sit on the couch, eat junk food, watch football, and not do shit all day long.
So just so everyone, I mean, I know everyone that listens to this isn't like in the general area and you don't know what day we're recording, but right now it is currently completely gray outside. I haven't seen a single beam of sunlight all day,
no.
and it's been fucking raining all day, and it's chilly outside.
And not like raining, like it's actually been raining. Like this is a rain we've been needing for a while as well because we haven't had much rain lately. But yeah, it's the perfect day, the perfect relaxing Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
But kind of this episode, this was kind of your idea, and I really liked it. But it was, is it okay to lie? And let's just answer the general question first. Is it okay to lie? And it's a tricky situation, or it's tricky question to answer.
It is. I mean, like, grow up thinking like lying is bad, right? Like,
it's like a cardinal sin.
yeah. So you shouldn't lie. But kind of really what prompted this question for me is just like everyday life experiences, you know? Because I know every single one, everybody listening to this right now, and Cole and myself, we all lie.
Yes.
Are you ever in a situation where you see someone that you haven't seen in a long time and they're like, hey, how you doing? You're like, good, how are you?
Yep.
That's your instant answer is good, how are you? Or not too bad, how are you? When in all actuality, you could be feeling like shit.
Yeah.
You're not going to say that, but you're lying to them right there.
Yeah. That's where it's like, I want to kind of get situational on this. And like the first situation that I came up with is like, say you have an event that you have to go to. You don't really want to go to an event. Like, say, I'll come up with it. It's a wedding. You have a wedding that you were invited to, and you probably, I'll say, should go to, in quotes. Is it okay to be like, I'm sick, or I don't feel good, or like something like that? Or is it better to just tell the truth, being like, I don't want to fucking go?
I mean,
that's where it's sticky.
Yeah, I mean, like, in the grand scheme of things, the truth is always better, right? But I think where it comes into situations, and another reason that this kind of popped into my head is you never really want to hurt someone's feelings either, you know? Like, if you don't want to go, like, yeah, that's how you feel, but they probably want you to be there. So would you rather hurt their feelings and say, hey, man, I just don't want to go to your wedding, like one of the most special days?
Well, see, here's my thing that I struggle with too is, say it's someone you're not close with, and you got the invitation, you're kind of like, man, I didn't expect to be invited to this wedding. It's like, is it more okay to lie in that aspect? And is the lie a bad thing for, say, like you said, you don't want to hurt their feelings. Like, granted, like, most of the time on those, you just don't show up. But if somebody asks you why, you can just, that's where it's like, do I lie or do I tell the truth?
Yeah, and I mean, I think in some of those situations you could physically, I mean, you could tell the truth. It's like, hey, I can't make it. you know, I mean, it's really nobody's business why you can't make it. I mean, I think as human beings and as like truthful individuals, we always feel like we need to explain. But dude, we're adults. You don't have to explain shit to me. If you can't make it, you can't make it, man. It's like, okay, that's fine. We're adults, you know. And I think that's kind of where it gets into a slippery slope, is when you feel the need to explain it, and then you do kind of curate a lie, whereas you could have just been like, hey, I can't make it.
Yeah, like that's, yeah, I don't know. That's, and I feel like it depends on the person a lot of times as well, on how, I guess I'll say, big the lie gets.
Mm-hmm.
So where, like, if it was fucking me and you, and, you know, and that's the thing, is that they keep pressing. How long does the lie keep going? But then also, if you lie, it's a lot harder to come back and tell the truth the further down you get, because then it makes it more hurtful.
Right. I mean, even like, dude, even last weekend, we were supposed to record, and I just texted you. I was like, hey, man, like, there's been a lot of shit going on. I'm really not. I don't think I'm like feeling like 100%. Like I really just wanted to stay in the house all day and just like, you know, like, didn't really want to talk per se, you know. And I mean, that was the truth. I could have been like, hey, man, I'm sick, or I'm hungover, you know. It's like, no, dude, I really didn't. I didn't think I could be 100% myself that day. So why waste the day and content when it's like, hey, we got next weekend, you know?
Yeah. So I guess, like, kind of going back to the grand scheme of things, is lying okay?
And I mean, I do think, I mean, it's just,
it's hard.
It's a hard question. That's why I really like appreciate that we're doing this, because everyone that's listening is gonna be like, damn, like, is it or is it not? And I think, I do think like lying isn't great, right? But I think there's sometimes where maybe you don't tell the full truth, or you know.
That's good.
To where, like, say someone is like, okay, we'll just put it in a sports perspective, like someone's having a fucking horrible game. Whether that's offensively, can't catch a pass, defensively, can't get off a block, can't make a tackle. You're not gonna, or if they walk up to you like, hey, did I play like shit? You could say, yeah, you did everything wrong, or you'd be like, you didn't play your best game, but you did this, this, and this right. Even if they didn't do those completely right, you still want to give them that confidence of, hey, you're not dog shit, dude. Like, I know you can play football. It's just, today wasn't your day, but you did do this, this, and this. You had that lead block on the touchdown. You know, like the little things of, maybe they're not something in film you're like, hey, good job on this play. Yeah. But in that moment, you're kind of giving them that, hey, wasn't your greatest game, wasn't your greatest show out, but you did do some things right. And I think in those situations where people are like down, or like if someone's coming to you for advice and like they tell you something that makes them sound like a horrible person, right? And like, hey, am I a shitty person for that? No, I completely understand. And maybe in your head you're like, dude, that's fucked up.
Yeah. But
you don't want to be like, dude, no, you're a shitty, and like, I don't know.
Well, that's the thing. Am I a shitty person? No, you're not a shitty person. That was a shitty thing.
Yeah, and that's the truth, you know.
And that's what I like too, is about not telling the full truth. That's not a lie, in my opinion. You're not lying about anything. You just didn't tell the full truth. Did I suck this game? It wasn't your best game. That's not a lie.
Right.
Not a lie at all. I didn't say it was your worst game. I didn't say it was your best game. And combating it with this, and this, good. These were good. And it's, you know, bringing that confidence back up. That's where I feel like some people will be like, you kind of get a lot of the lying of, or did I play like shit? Like, you didn't play that. Like, you played pretty good. Instead of doing that, being like, that wasn't your best game, but this, and this. It's taking a lie. Instead of telling a lie, you're not telling the full truth. I like that better than telling a lie.
I mean, that's what it's about, being a leader. You have to, I mean, being a leader in any situation, the workspace, and any situation, a captain on a team, people are going to come to you. You're good. People are going to come to you asking for advice, or asking you, hey, what did I do wrong here?
Yeah.
You're not going to straight up, like, as a leader, you should never straight up, like, dive at them like, hey, you are horrible, da-da-da-da-da. Like, no, dude. You tell them, hey, no, that wasn't right. You shouldn't do that again.
Yes. But shoot them straight.
Yeah, hey, you shouldn't do that again. But here's what you did right on that play. Just change this little thing. You're good.
Yeah. I'll ask this question. When do you think it's okay to tell a lie? Like, or when do you not okay? When do you think is the worst time to tell a lie?
Worst time to tell a lie.
It's a very deep question. Now that I'm even thinking about it, I'm like, fuck, I don't even know what my answer is. That's a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I think maybe the worst possible time to tell a lie would be.
Okay, I got one.
But yeah, you go.
The worst time to tell a lie is to lie and make yourself look good.
Yeah.
Don't lie to make yourself look good. I don't want to say that may not be the absolute worst, but it's one of the worst, I will say. But I really struggle. I lose credibility for people when I figure out that they lied to make themselves look good. Whether it's, well, I'm going on a visit to such and such, or I have a scholarship offer from here, or I'm next in line to get this job, when really you have no fucking clue and you were never in the position to get that, promotion, or I make this much money. That's another one that bothers me, of people saying they make more money than they do.
Yeah.
It's like, why? What's the fucking point?
I mean, and really what it comes down to at the end of the day is like, that's just them kind of, I guess, justifying or like.
I think it's self-conscious.
Yeah, it's kind of like, oh, what I would actually say is the truth isn't good enough. They're not gonna view me as how I view myself, so I need to fabricate some extra details in there for them to look at me how I want them to look at me.
Yeah. And that's the big thing with social media. We've talked about it a lot. There's a lot of people. I guess it won't. I don't know. Is social media lying, or is it not telling the full truth?
I think it's a little bit of both, probably.
Yeah, I mean, it obviously depends on the person a little bit, but a lot of the things that you see, like I'm thinking of like, oh, they have this, they have that, but they're not happy. So it's like, they're not necessarily lying. They're posting all this good stuff on Instagram or whatever social media platform it is. They're not necessarily lying. They're just not telling the entire truth.
Yeah, but would you consider not telling well, no, because not telling the entire truth isn't considered really lying. But I was just thinking about like fitness influencers that edit their pictures. That's lying.
That's lying.
But you're selling because they sell like workout books or like, hey, grow your glutes like me in 6 months, when like in actuality
that took you fucking 4 years.
4 years, and you're still editing your pictures
Yeah.
to make it look bigger and shit like that. So it's like, I think social media.
Yeah, I
is
edit
a
my
big
pictures
lie.
to make it look bigger. All right, just let it go.
You never know, but I think social media is lying in a sense, because social media is a false perception of life, because there's some people that post like their.
But hold on, false perception of life, is that just not telling the whole truth? You see where I'm going with this?
Yeah, that is true.
So that's tough. I don't even know how I feel about it. I don't know which way I stand on it, because it's like, I guess you can lie in terms of saying that your life is great and everything's perfect and all that kind of stuff. But if you just look at the picture itself, it's not a lie. The captions can give a lot of whether it's a lie or it's not telling the whole truth. I guess I would say that. I don't know. That's tough.
Yeah, it is tough, and at the end of the day, I don't know if we'll actually be able to answer this question.
Yeah,
Is it okay to lie? Because it's just, there's so many things that go into it. But I think really at the end of the day, being someone that really cares about other people's feelings, and it's at times sometimes more than I care about my own feelings. It's easier to sometimes not tell the whole truth to save someone's feelings than tell them the full truth and then absolutely destroy their feelings in a sense.
See, here's the thing I kind of want to go off of that as well is, not telling your true feelings of, yeah, you're kind of a piece of shit for that, or this is your fault that you guys broke up, in my opinion. And that's the other thing that people have to keep in mind, is it is a lot of opinionistic type things when it comes to this style that we're talking about. And sometimes is it better to just tell them the truth, whether it put a bind on the relationship or not?
I think in most instances it really is because like they might, or yeah, I mean like think about like in just one scenario, like hey you went out with some buddies, your friend has had one too many, and they're wanting to drive home. You take their keys from them, do not give them back, right? That friend is going to be so fucking mad at you that night, so fucking mad, right?
That fucking speech, I think I sent it to you. I may have on Instagram.
Maybe.
It was Nick Saban talking about Henry.
Yeah,
Ruggs.
exactly. Yeah. So and that's kind of what prompted it too.
That
is-
fucking gives me chills.
Yeah, and just like that friend will be so mad at you that entire night. They might not talk to you for the rest of the night, but you know.
They might not talk to you the rest of your life.
Yeah,
They
but
honestly
tomorrow
may be
morning-
pissed, but guess what? They're still alive.
Yeah, tomorrow
Or they're
morning
still out
they'll
of
wake
jail.
up. You'll know they're safe. They'll be safe to drive home, and it's better than you giving them their keys and them going to kill someone or kill themselves.
Because the Nick Saban speech that we're kind of stemming off of is him talking about Henry Ruggs, and it was, that's who it is, right?
Mhm.
Henry Ruggs. And if somebody would have took his keys, you know, that night and then, you know, probably wouldn't have liked him very much, probably would have thought poorly of him, but he wouldn't have been driving 103 and killed a family. And it's like, damn, like, that's where it's tough too, like, that's where I almost feel like sometimes lying can come in as a good thing in situations like that potentially. You're taking somebody's keys away and you're like, dude, first off, I think you're way too drunk and or whatever, but you could do the whole like, man, I just want you to stay and hang out longer, or I want you to stay over tonight. Like I want, like let's just hang out, and like that kind of thing. Toward lying could come instead of being like, dude, you're way too fucking drunk and you shouldn't drive. Now, granted, I think there's pros to both sides.
Mhm.
That's the thing, is there's pros. Being straight with someone is good, but also at the same time of trying to convince someone of not doing something bad, lying's not always the worst thing.
Yeah, and I think a really good combination is just a combination of both.
Yeah.
So like maybe shooting it straight with them, but then sprinkling in those, hey, no, I mean, like, hey, you're too fucking drunk, right? But I do want to hang out with you. I do want you to stay. Like, it's just kind of a nice mixture of both. But I don't know. It's a tough question, and I would love to like talk to more people about it, or like anybody listening, like. if you-
Yeah, I want thoughts on this.
Yeah,
I want
just
people to
send-
like
send an
submit some
email,
shit.
DM, anything, of just like, what do you think about, like, is it okay to lie, or do you think it's, would you rather someone give it to you straight 100% of the time, or,
Yeah. What would you prefer? Would you prefer someone to lie to you? Would you prefer someone to not give you the full truth? Or would you prefer someone to do a combination of the two? Wait, no. Ignore all of that. I don't even know where I was going with that. I don't even know what I was
I
trying
think, I guess me personally, like, because one of my pet peeves is kind of beating around the bush, you know, so like, I would want someone to give it to me straight, but also I know there's like those vulnerable times where it's like, I mean, if you give it to me straight right now, it might just like shatter what I have left, so like, take it easy, pal, you know?
Yeah.
So it's just so situational, and really understanding that situation and kind of what your words or what kind of the route you take in that conversation can impact, or how it impacts the other person.
So I'll be honest here. I'll be vulnerable of lying when, and I want your opinion on if it's a good or bad. So we had a funeral for somebody that we know, or a showing for somebody that we know. And one of our friends texted me and was asking when I was going to go, and he was going to go at the same time. I knew from that point that I was not going. And the reason that I knew I was not going is because I did not mentally feel like I could. And I kind of kept lying to myself saying I was going to go. And I couldn't. I literally, that morning of that happening, I remember standing in the upstairs window, Sierra was getting ready for work, and I just broke down in tears. And like, me and her had been off for a few days because another thing, I lied to her and said I was fine and everything was good, and I was kind of late. I was almost like, it was essentially a depressed mood, to where I laid around, didn't do anything, had no motivation to do anything, and I recognized it, and I was trying to get myself out of it, but I had no motivation. And so like I lied to her about it, and then I lied to my friend and said, I don't know when I'm going yet. I'll have to see what my schedule looks like. That was the end of the conversation. I never said when I was going or anything. I just never went. So is that okay to lie in that situation with our friend that I was texting about? Or should I have been more straight up and been like, dude, honestly, I'm probably not going to go because of the fact of this, like my mental stability of it.
I mean, I feel like hindsight's 20/20. I think if that situation replayed itself, you'd probably just be straight up like, "Hey, I don't know if I can handle it."
Yeah.
But I think at that point in time, when you did lie, I think personally that you being a strong individual person, you didn't want to admit to the fact that like it was influencing you that much.
Mm-hmm.
So like you didn't want to come out and say like, "Hey, I don't really think I can handle this. I don't think I can deal with it." So kind of the next step to that is like, hey, I don't want to tell them my real reason, so I'm just gonna kind of brush it off or kind of.
Well, because honestly, at
kick
that
it down
time, I was not ready to open up and talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
And the morning I broke down in tears, the morning of, that was when I opened up and talked about it to Sierra and told her, I was like, honestly, this has been bothering me. Like, yeah, there's more to that I could go off of, but I mean, should I dive into it? I don't know.
It's totally up to you, whatever you're comfortable
So like,
with, dude.
I mean, I'm comfortable with it. It's just how open do we want to be about the whole situation kind of thing.
I mean, it's public knowledge. We don't have to say names though.
So, the person we're talking about did commit suicide. I think the reason that I was so mentally unstable with it was because of the fact that I looked at it and I was like, that could have been me.
Mm-hmm.
I've been in the exact same spot. From what I know of the situation, I was in the exact same spot. And actually, when I was telling Sierra about it after me and you got off the phone, she looked at me and goes, and I was like, it's really tough to handle, and because, and she goes, like she knew it too.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the drinking, it's the like a lot of like I've been at that fucking point of what is life anymore. Like I've been to that point multiple times in my life. I won't dive super deep into it today. Like, and maybe eventually. I want to talk about it, but it's still one of those that I'm not entirely open about everything yet. I still have to come to grips with some things personally, which first off, everything's fine with me now. Like, it's not like it's anything bad, but that was I think what I struggled with so much mentally was the fact that I wasn't ready to open up about it because I saw myself in the mirror a little bit, and it was like a rejoiceful, and that's what felt bad about it too. It wasn't me, but it was somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I think I struggled with a lot, is it was somebody else that I fucking knew, and I know exactly, maybe not exactly, I won't say exactly, but I know pretty damn close of what he was going through.
Mm-hmm.
And granted, I had no idea. And there's probably nothing I don't want to say there's nothing I could have done, but when you don't know, it's hard to do it.
You don't know what you don't know.
Yep.
That was really like a big thing for me too, man. Is just like what if I sent a text? What if this? What if that? Just I don't know. I still haven't talked to really anybody about it. I don't know, dude. I have a really unhealthy habit of fucking pushing everything so deep that like I don't even allow myself to feel anything, and then one day, like, and I mean, it's happened a couple times already. It's like I have like almost like a nervous breakdown in a sense to where like everything that I've pushed down over the past 2-3 months just fucking erupts out of me like a volcano, and it could be at the weirdest times, dude.
Yep.
It's like you can't control it, you have no idea, and then you look back, it's like it is easier to talk to someone about it, but I've never done that. I have never ever, like, or I did actually, yeah. Never mind. I did go to therapy for a little bit. Full transparency. I didn't feel like I was getting much out of it, so I stopped going. And I think it was mostly because I wouldn't like open up all the way. It's hard to open up to a complete fucking stranger, dude. Like you have you have no idea. You have no idea what I've been through besides what I tell you.
Right.
And if I tell you the full truth of some things, you might think I'm fucking like suicidal or something like that. And then it's like another, because therapists like have to report that shit and like, you know what I mean? So it's like you're like skating on thin ice with therapy sometimes. And I don't know. I have a real hard time talking about really any issue.
You see it, and like I'm not saying TV is 100% true, but like you see it on TV all the time where people that go to therapy, they struggle with it for the very, like at the beginning, they really struggle with it and they feel like they are getting nothing out of it. But it is when they finally open up that it actually gets something out of it. But it's, like you said, it's very hard to open up to a fucking complete stranger. It's no different than if somebody's like, how are you doing? You may not know them or maybe you don't have a super close relationship with them. You're not going to sit there and be like, dude, honestly, I'm having the worst day of my life.
Right.
You're not going to tell them that.
Right.
No, you're going to be like, I'm good. Like, that's how you're going to say it. Because, and I feel like we don't want to burden other people with our problems.
Right.
And I get that. I 100% get that. My excuse that I use to see her all the time, if I'm not doing well, is my problems are not your problems. But in a way, and she goes, we are a couple, your problems are my problems. Now granted, I'm not saying you drag that person into that, like now that, like you don't use that every time kind of thing. Like there's a double-edged sword with that kind of thing where, yes, like when she says my problems are your problems, it's more of, I'm here to help you through your problems. I'm not saying that like, now all of a sudden like I'm in a crappy mood because of your problem. And it's more of, I'm going to help you push through that, whatever that situation is.
Yeah, and I mean, one really like action item for me is to like really start opening up a bit more.
It's tough.
It's
fucking hard.
the rough thing for me, and I can see it, dude. I'm kind of in like right now. I'm kind of in one of those stages or like cycles of like, dude, when bad shit happens and I push it all down, I like close up. Like for like the past couple weeks, I feel like I don't really feel emotion, you know. Like I mean, I still have love for everyone, you know. Love like I can show love. I guess it's like.
But here, hold on, I'm going to go off of that. It's way easier to show love for everybody else when you're not in a good place than it is for yourself.
Yeah.
That's the issue, is the emotion we don't feel is towards ourselves.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like I don't like feel kind of like numb in a sense, and it's literally it's my own fault. I mean,
You almost run on autopilot.
Yeah, I don't talk about anything, shove it all down, hoping that it never comes out, but again, it's all piling. It's gonna come out at some point. It might be like the worst possible time for it to come out, you know? It's just, I don't know, there's no answer to it. I mean, other than like start fucking talking to someone.
Well, one of the things that we've talked about, I'm not perfect at it, and I do the same thing where I like cram it down for a long time. But one of the things that I've kind of recognized is, thanks to Sierra, is when I start realizing, I kind of say I don't care a lot. And Sierra will say to me sometimes, what do you care about? And then that's the point where I realize I'm going down this path.
Mm-hmm.
I need to get out of it. Like I'm going down a path where when I start realizing that, I'm like, I don't care, whatever, it doesn't matter, that kind of stuff. And then when she says, what do you care about? That's the point that I realize I need to I got to change something.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it is, and that doesn't necessarily mean for me, when it probably should, that I need to open up and talk about some stuff. That's usually what I need to do. But instead, it's like, all right, and I will say a big thing for me is journaling. I go to my journal a lot. Like when I go to I go back and read my past journal entries too, and like I look at the highs and lows. Like I literally will see the highs and lows of my life, and just being able to do that. Sometimes instead of me talking to somebody, I just write it down,
Mm-hmm.
and I feel better, just because you feel like you get it out. It's like, all right, it's there. But granted, does it solve it 100% of the time? No, it doesn't. It won't. Sometimes literally the best thing to do is talk to people, but it is so fucking hard because you don't want to open up to a complete stranger, but you also don't want to open up to the person that you love the most, or the person that you're close with the most, because you don't necessarily maybe want them to view you differently or be worried about you, because you don't want to burden other people with your problems.
I mean, that and just in life in general, bro, it's like, you probably have opened up to someone in the past and they use that shit as ammunition, you know? Of like, just like loading the gun up, you know, like, hey, I got all this on you now, and I can just fire it fucking back at you and make you feel even more like shit, you know. And it's like, I don't know. I mean, I trust myself more than anybody else, right? You know, it's
Yeah.
like, if I keep it in, I know who else is gonna fucking know about it. Who knows?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I can easily have a smile on my face every day, and nobody's gonna know anything's wrong.
Right.
But it's not the healthiest route.
No, it's not. And I'm not. I don't know if there's a correct way or a correct route. And it's no different than in life. There's no right way to do it. Because opening up to somebody isn't the best option for every single person. It's not. Some people it is writing it down in a journal. Some people it is fucking screaming at a wall. Some people it is. Some people resort to drugs. Some people resort to alcohol. Like, there's different. Granted, I'm not saying all of those are good options, but there's different routes for everybody to kind of. See, kind of going off of this, I feel like a lot of times we just look for a way to numb the pain.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the issue, is trying to numb the pain instead of dealing with the pain.
Yeah, for sure.
Because, no, you're good.
I was just gonna say, like, and I'm not, like, I don't know what it feels like to be a woman. I'm not discrediting women experiences at all. So do not take this, like, as me saying, like, my life is harder than yours, okay? All I'm saying is, I think as a man, it is harder to talk about your problems because, I mean, at least I know me growing up, like, you fall down, you get hurt, stop crying, rub dirt on it. Something's bothering you, oh, you're a pussy, oh, like, every time you try to speak out to someone about issues, it is instantly kind of turned back on you, like, oh, this is your problem, you're a bitch, you're a pussy, you're being soft, da 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 da. So it makes you build up kind of a shell of, like, okay, and then this is a one-way street. The shit's gonna come into me, it's gonna stay here, and I'm not talking to anybody about it. And I think, because I don't think I was always like this. I think it was more or less like, as life kept going on, I didn't want to talk about my problems because, one, the ammunition thing, and then two, it's like, oh, are you gonna think I'm? Oh shit.
Jesus
Is it
Christ.
still recording?
No.
Oh, okay.
I unplugged my phone. Don't unplug your fucking phone on this podcast because it screws everything up.
Power surge, but no, I mean, all I was saying is just like, I think it's more or less like thinking about what else or someone else is going to think of you when you share your problems, or how they're going to perceive you, and all of that is what really makes it so difficult to talk about, and with any human being. But I think the stereotypes of a man being that strong, protective figure, you don't have time to shed a tear. You don't have time to show weakness.
I was going to say, you look weak.
Mm-hmm.
That's the problem. So I kind of wanted to do like a little music thing because I wasn't planning on this. When I originally kind of wrote some stuff down one night when I was down here about when we were going to do these episodes and everything, there was a song. So music to me, I love music just because of the lyrics. Like, I don't always love the artist per se. I love the lyrics.
Mm-hmm.
And like, that's what I love about music, is the lyrics behind the music. And there's a song you brought up, we don't know what it's like to be a woman or anything, but this is kind of, I'll just play the song and then I'll stem off of it what I was going to talk about with it.
Feel alone, yeah, I feel afraid. Feel I'm lost in hell, I can't seem to find a way. I know I'm broken in hell, I know you're broken too. But I just thought you wanna see things through. I just wanted you to know that I'll always be right here. So don't you worry about your demons, 'cause I got demons too. Memories will pass as time slips away. Feelings I have, I think they might just stay right here. All this heartbreak is just tearing me apart. How could our love have fallen this far? I just wanted you to know that I'll always be right here. So don't you worry about your demons, 'cause I got demons too.
But yeah, so kind of going off of this is one of the things I wrote down after I, kind of thought about this song and everything was we all have demons, first off. Everybody has it, and that's the whole thing of you never know what somebody's going through because we lie. Like we've been talking about this whole episode of, oh, I'm fine, I'm good, I'm good. But I kind of wanted to go off of, and it's kind of a touchy situation in a way, but so as I said, we all have demons. Do you think it's easier for a girl or a guy to open up? And kind of like, I want to expand off of it because in my opinion, girls open up way easier. Do they have as many demons as us?
I think so. I think it's more culturally. Because, like, I feel like, and again, I'm not speaking from experience by any means, but I feel like girls will open up to their friends, right? And maybe that's the first step for men, too, but men are pretty cruel sometimes. So you could open up to your friend about it, and he's like, oh, you're being a bitch,
Yeah.
or you're being soft. And that's literally that. And that's, like, people, like, I mean, just guys, like, men in general are pretty... not as easy to like open up to like a whole group of of your guys than I feel like a whole group of like a girl with a group of their girlfriends,
I mean, girls cry together. Guys don't cry together as often as girls.
Right. Definitely has happened for sure.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I think it's more or less just like kind of the unrealistic standards that have been put to men.
That's what I think a lot of it is, and I think that's the reason that it is the way it is, I think that's the reason guys don't open up, because the man of the house is supposed to provide, is never supposed to show pain, never supposed to show struggle. And there's actually another song, I won't play it, but if you haven't heard it, definitely go listen to it. It's called "To Be a Man" by Dax and Darius Rucker. I just want to play a single part of it though, because I have to, because I can't remember exactly what he says off the top of his head or off the top of my head, but there's a part of it that fuck it, I'm playing the whole song. We're just going with it. It kind of shows my pen's being stupid. The unrealistic, the standards that have been set on men of how you're supposed to act, and
And it's like the same way for females as well. For women, there's been some unrealistic expectations or standards that have been set that aren't right, and we're not discrediting those by any means. We're just speaking from our experiences.
Men aren't supposed to do dishes. Women are. Men aren't supposed to cook. Women are. And no, that's not realistic.
Right.
Like, that's how it used to be back in the day. I get it. Like, you know, even in our lifetime, that's how it was at the beginning of our lives is, you know, a lot of stay-at-home mothers, and the father went and provided for the family, but the mother had the house clean. He did all that. And I'm sorry, that's bullshit, because it kind of goes back to the power couples, per se. I hate that term. I really don't like that term of power couple, but the power couples you see, they do everything together.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why they don't have as many issues, is because of the fact that it is a balance of, oh, you're cleaning the house, I'll help you clean the house.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you're doing dishes. Like me and Sierra have this thing, and we're not a power couple by any means, but where whoever cooks, the other one has dishes. We both hate doing dishes, but we came up with an agreement of, all right, you know, we don't always want to cook either. So whoever cooks, the other one has dishes. And that's just a simple thing of, it shouldn't be like it always used to be, you know, way back in the day, of the woman, the mother cooked, she did the dishes, she cleaned at the house, like she did that. And I'm sorry, that's unrealistic. That's not, and especially in today's world, that's way unrealistic, because there's a lot of very powerful women out there in the day, and some of them don't do their own dishes, and that's fine. But this kind of goes off of the expectations that are set on a man.
I can't hide myself. I don't expect you to understand. I just hope I can explain what it's like to be a man. It's a lonely road, and they don't care about what you know. It's not about how you feel, but what you provide inside that home. Being a man is what you make it. You can't always live up to expectations. You try to please everybody while you struggle, so you fake it and end up out of balance, compromising situations. As a good man, do what he should, man. Give everything he has and do everything he could, man. You might find yourself feeling all alone inside a house you built that you don't recognize as home. And that's what my daddy told me, and I'll tell my son the same. Now that I'm older, I relate and I actually feel his pain. He never cried, he might have lied, but he did not complain. And he said, son, one day you'll have to do the same. I get emotional when I stop and think, and I look around beyond the county lines of my small town. I think about all the men out there who feel like I do now, who are screaming on the inside but won't ever make a sound. I can't hide myself. I don't expect you to understand. I just hope I can explain what it's like to be a man. It's a lonely road, and they don't care about what you know. It's not about how you feel, but what you provide inside that home. Don't give up, keep fighting. As a man, our sun is our horizon, and our father's actions play a role, and we end up like them. So they can't let us see them hurt, cause we'll embody what they do and start a generational curse. No wonder most men are so depressed, all the things that they can't express. They go to war, get thrown on the shelf, then go back to war with their mental health. Then grab that bottle and ask for help, try to pull themselves out of hell, then fall back down and then realize that they're gonna have to do it themselves. It's the circle of life. As a man you provide, they don't know what you're worth till the day that you die, and that's when they start crying. Then move on to a man to confide in. That's why we feel we can't hide ourselves. We can't hide ourselves. We don't expect you to understand. We just hope we can explain what it's like to be a man. It's a lonely road,
That song, it came out, I want to say about this time last year. It was like suicide or men's mental health month.
Mm-hmm.
And I just happened to hear it because I'm big on, like, I like watching reaction videos to
Mhm.
songs, and especially songs I know, and like, you know, the part's coming up and you're like, all right, what are they going to say here? But that, and it's not about what you know, it's what you provide inside this home. That is the the expected thing of a man, but it's not reasonable.
Yeah.
And, you know, and like when he was singing too about the part of you know, he never showed his pain or whatever, and he said, son, one day you'll have to do the same. And you're starting a generational curse of, if you show your pain, then you're raising a bunch of pussy. And it's like, I hate that that's why I think it's so hard for men to open up, is because they get viewed differently if they do.
Mm-hmm.
But that's also why we have fucking suicide, is because we can't. I don't want to say can't, but men don't feel like they can open up.
Yeah, and I think that's really the reason why men's suicides are so much higher than women's suicides. It's just the expectations, or kind of what the definition of a man has grown to be. When, like, I mean, it's not going to change until someone really changes it, which it's like easier said than done. You know, it's something that's been like engraved into manhood since the start of manhood, you know?
I've had a guy on the podcast that battled addiction and drugs and alcohol with everything, and kind of got out. He's multiple years sober now and everything, and he has his own podcast called the Ain't Dead Yet podcast. And his whole thing with the podcast, since he's been sober, is he says, fuck the stigma. I'm having people on that are willing to talk about these things, that are willing to open up about it, because more people, he's like, because I could have been that one that ended up dead. He's like, I probably would have if I continued down the drugs and alcohol path. And that's why I like the fuck the stigma. That's what it sticks with me. Of, it's, granted, I'm not, like we've talked, I'm not good about opening up myself, but I feel like I've slowly gotten better at it. And I think there's a fine line between being too soft, of where, like, granted, like, certain things you definitely need to open up about. Some things, like, honestly, like, the things that you'll get past in a week's time, a couple days' time, you don't need to open up about those. Of like, oh, I had a crappy day because of this, and, like, you know, I felt this way. Like, I'm not necessarily saying that. I'm saying, like, the things that have been weighing on you for months at a time.
The things that keep you up at night.
Yes, those are the things that you need to open up and talk about. I'm saying this as almost like a tweet to self,
Yeah, literally.
kind of thing. Like,
yeah.
it's not an easy thing to do, but we eventually have to learn fuck the stigma of what a man's supposed to be. And in my opinion, I think that makes you more of a man when you recognize the fact and you can open up.
Yeah. Honestly, like, you can kind of catch yourself before you fall into that, like, black hole of, like, darkness, you know? You like, hey, I'm going down a path that maybe I don't want to.
Yeah.
Let's do something to change it, you know?
Right.
I don't know. I really just encourage anybody. Could be big issues. Could be, hey, I got a C on this exam. I'm really stressed out. Talk to someone.
Yeah.
Talk to someone. Who, it doesn't have to be a therapist. Doesn't have to be a person. Talk to your journal like you do.
Mm-hmm.
Talk to Snapchat AI. Talk to literally anything. Just get it out. Get it out of, like, just get it out of your heart and reread it. Let someone maybe just listen. Tell them not to say anything back to you. Just get it all out, and then that's that. Because most of the time, when you're like, when you're like venting to someone or, like, expressing your problems, you're not telling them that to hope that they say something back to you that makes you feel better. What the fuck? Like, what's that gonna do? No, I'm telling you this because I have to. Like, and you don't got to say a word. You know.
There's a lot of times, especially as a man, I feel like we just want to say it to get it out.
Mm-hmm.
It may not all even make sense. our feelings may not even make sense, and sometimes I just want to say it, not hear a single response, and just be like, I feel better. And like I've talked to myself, like, you know, it's almost like those mirror talks. Having that talk with yourself in the mirror, whether it's about yourself, whether it's about the issues that have been weighing on you of outside factors or things like that. But sometimes those mirror type talks of literally just talking to yourself can be all you need to just saying it out loud is what you needed. I mean, everybody has their own way of therapy, I'll say. I mean, look at an artist. A lot of artists, that is their way of expressing themselves, is through their art. Music, that's a big one. That's how a lot of these artists express themselves, is through their music. Like that song right there, that is 100% guaranteed. He was expressing how he felt about things through that song. And it's a great way to do it.
Yeah.
And it's convenient that it is, I believe, Suicide Prevention Month, too.
It is this month?
I think so. I'm pretty sure. So, like, that's it. Kind of, we've just been working. Things have worked out different weird ways today. It almost makes you wonder why it worked out the way it did. But it's just, I don't know. Just talk to somebody. Talk to yourself. Talk to your journal. I don't care what it is. Just talk about it.
And I think another thing that, like, kind of we started off on this of, like, is it okay to lie? Or, like, we lie every day when someone asks you how are you doing? If you're having, like, a good conversation with someone, or you just, like, talking to them, say it's just, like, you and another person, you say, hey, how are you doing? And they're just like, good, how are you? Re-ask the question, hey, how are you doing? Like straight up. If someone did that to me, then, like, oh, okay, they actually want to know how I'm doing. That's not just because we use that in, like, the U.S., and I don't know if it's like this in other countries. We kind of use that as a hi. Like, it's like, hey, how you doing? How you been?
Yeah.
You know, oh, dude, I've been good, living the dream.
Living the dream. That's the one right there.
I say that shit all the time, and, like, no, I'm not actually, dude. It's just like, I don't know, just, again, kind of, I think it's easier on.
You know something I've switched to? I'm doing.
Yeah, I've said that too. It's going. How's it going? It's going.
That's it. That's the whole thing of not telling the full truth.
Right.
It's like, you know, it's good and bad. That's essentially what that means. Like, it's life. But, you know, sometimes it means deeper than other times. Sometimes it's like, I'm doing. Like, it's like, things are crazy right now. I'm not great, but I'm okay. And then other times it's fucking like, I'm doing. Like, I mean, it's not the best thing in the world right now, but, like, nothing really terrible is really going on. So, like, it has it's that hidden meaning of, it's all right. It's good.
Right. And, yeah, I mean, I really do think the kind of the re-asking the how are you doing question, like, no, like, how are you actually doing?
Yeah.
I don't want to hear the bullshit. Like, how are you actually doing? And if they say good, like, things are going well, then perfect. That's what I love to hear. But even if they say, no, it's not going well, this is what's going on. Oh, dude, awesome. Thank you for sharing that with me. Like, I know, hopefully that helps you. Like, you know what I mean? It's just, humans are communal creatures. We strive off communication, or we strive off of bonds. That's why, like, there's the quote-unquote soulmates. That's why you have friends. That's why we're in a community. If you don't talk to anybody, you're not around anybody all the time, it's not healthy. That's why, like,
that's where a serial killer is born.
Yeah, or just, like, even in prisons, why do you think, like, solitary confinement is a punishment? Because, like, dude, you actually go fucking insane in there. It's not healthy whatsoever. I think it's a cruel punishment, to be honest, but who the hell am I to, like, I mean, I don't know what that individual did to get in there, first off, and then what they did.
Is that a real thing?
Solitary?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh, I didn't know.
Dude, there's people that have been in solitary for fucking 5-10 years.
Jesus Christ.
And they get, like, 1 hour a week of yard time. It's like shit like that. Of, like, dude, like, it changed.
But it's yard time separate than everybody else.
Like yard time in a cage probably, you know. It's like, dude, you actually, like, start to go fucking insane in there.
That's not.
I mean, I can't say that from experience, but, you know.
Like, I guarantee it.
Yeah. Like.
That's what, what's his name? It's going to drive me nuts. Does all the challenges. He's a YouTuber.
Mr. Beast?
Mr. Beast. He did one I saw where he, like, locked himself in a room for, like, a week or something. And, like, literally, like, 4 hours, and he was like,
Yeah, because
This is
he
nuts.
couldn't see the timer or anything. Like
Yeah.
he just locked him. Yeah,
I couldn't do that. That'd drive me fucking.
Yeah.
It'd drive me insane quickly.
yeah,
All he had was like a book, and that was it. And I was like, I would literally go insane.
yeah. It's like it's healthy to talk about things. Not all of us do it. Something that we all want to get better at, but I really do encourage anybody watching this, or not watching, I guess, listening.
Watching and listening. We're
Yeah,
going video now.
Watching and listening. Even if you just tuned in for a little bit of it, just talk to someone.
Yep.
I mean, Cole and I are always happy to talk. You guys don't know us. I know I said it's kind of weird talking to like a stranger, but I mean, you don't even have to. Fuck, if you ever wanted to talk, I don't need to know your name. I mean, I'll put my number out there. You can literally call me. I'll answer. Don't have to tell me your name. Just tell me what's going on. I'll listen. I'll be an ear. I mean, it's the least. It's the absolute least I could do. You know.
If I answer the first time and you and I act like it's a spam call, just call back.
Yeah, literally. It's just make yourself available. I mean, I'm happy to be a resource for anybody that's going through anything. And I hope anybody listening to this is happy to do the same if anybody ever calls you with an absolute shitstorm on their plate, you know?
Yeah. Wrap this one up. I think it's a good place to end.
Yeah, for sure.
But you guys know the deal. Life is hard. It's going to knock you down just like a bull does to a bull rider. Don't let that bull of life walk all over you. Get up, grab the bull by the horns, and take control of your life. Roughnecks, out.